Hold on to your butts. These are the Squashbuckler Diaries. Welcome back. My name is Guy Hasson, and you're listening to the Squashbuckler. Yes, you are listening to the Squashbuckler. You are listening to the Squashbuckler Diaries, an epic fantasy podcast. And maybe we'll spend a couple of minutes explaining to those of you who are new what is going on here. We have Shelley, a little girl who lives inside her father's dreams for some reason. We'll get to the reason eventually. For now, we don't know why. When she grows up, she'll be a heroine and she will save the world. Of course, that's not a spoiler. This is an adventure story. But for now, we are watching her grow up. And season 1 is about her ages 2 to 6, told by the Red Dragon, who is a dragoness, a female dragon, who watches over her. And her father comes in only when he's asleep, and he almost always dreams of adventures. So she's been having adventures and defeating villains all her life. And they live on a pirate ship called Bonny's Revenge. And we are in the middle of the ship. There's an infinite prison, an infinite corridor with a prison in it. Where they put the villains who stay behind when her father awakes. And when he awakes, most of the things disappear, but not everything. Usually the top villains don't disappear. And this is the story of Joy's life, growing up on the pirate ship with villains in the belly of the ship, having adventures with a father who disappears most hours of the day, living on a flying ship and learning to fend for herself. And we are learning who she is and what she is. Now let's talk about the longer plan. This is a daily epic fantasy podcast. It's usually 5 to 7 minutes. And season 1, this is it, ages 2 to 6. Then in the beginning of 2021, my first book will come out, which will be called The Forgotten Girl, the Lost in Dreams series. And it'll be the stuff that happens and changes everything right after season 1. So ages 2 to 6 is season 1. Then comes the book on her 6th birthday, where she finds out she's in a dream and goes to other dreams. And then the Squashbuckler. And then the Squashbuckler podcast will cover what happens to her from ages 6 to 9. And then the second book will come out at age 9, where again everything changes. And so on and so on. We will watch her. We will not only have books about her life from birth to death. We will also have every aspect of her life and of what makes her up and what makes a future heroine and what happens after you do heroic stuff. All of her life will be in the Squashbuckler. Wow, I can't say the name of the. Okay, in the Squashbuckler podcast and in the Lost in Dreams books. So, this is going to be a long ride, and we are taking our breath as we build an actual person. Now, the reason I'm reading this to you and not a professional actor, professional person who would probably do this better than me is because I want a personal connection with you. I want you guys to talk to me. I want to talk to you. This is a long, long journey. And I do think it'll take time for people to understand what's happening. And I have a long time. This is going to take years to finish. And I'm here with you. So let's do this. We are just beginning this. Episode 30, the first lesson. Age 2.5, told by the Red Dragon. Where are we? My wonderful, precious Dragon Little, the name I gave little Joy Shelley when I met her, and Dragonfather, the dreamer, Justin Shelley, landed their pirate ship Bonny's Revenge in the middle of the desert. Dragonfather took her in his arms. A jetpack appeared on his back and he flew up over the railing and landed on the sand. The jetpack disappeared as quickly as it appeared. The power of the dreamers is almost infinite in a dream, but I do believe Dragonfather does not realize he is in a dream. Dragon Little looked around. There were straw scarecrows as far as their human eyes could see. "What is this place?" she asked again. "This," he put her down, "is where you get your education. You want to fight bad guys? You have to learn to shoot them." A laser pistol appeared in his hand. He gave it gently to Dragon Little. "A gun! Yay!" She jumped up and down. "That's right. Every swashbuckling girl needs a gun, but you get the gun when you're responsible enough to use it. Now we practice. Look at this. See this? This is the trigger." Dragonfather began to teach Dragon Little about the shape of the gun. Then he taught her to stand, to aim, and to pull the trigger. At 2.5 years old, Dragon Little fired and fired at the scarecrows for hours. Dragonfather seemed to have infinite patience, and when she struck the targets, he would always smile as if this is the moment he had been waiting for all her life, to teach her to fire a weapon. I wondered in my heart, never having seen Earth, the land of the dreamers, if Dragonfather is a pirate in his waking life as well. I do not know the answer to that yet. Yet I was happy he was teaching this to her. She would need this and so much more when she grew up. I'm afraid nothing would prepare her for what's coming, that no weapon would be strong enough or big enough. But at least she would know how to fight, and he would no doubt teach her many things in the years until she finds out who she is and who is after her. For now, 2.5-year-old Dragon Little had fun in her first lesson, firing a laser pistol. Told by the Red Dragon. Tags: Joy, Justin, teaching Joy, the Red Dragon. So, now we are beginning to see this. The Squashbuckler Diaries are just small pieces of life. They're not actual stories about Joy and her life in a dream and what it's like to grow up in a dream. And we can see that at age 2.5, she is taught to use a gun. She's already participated in many, hundreds of adventures. And it is time for her, the 2.5-year-old, to grow up and use a laser pistol, which she will many times in the future. It's going to be one of her favorite weapons. This kind of thing jumps around, so you will probably be seeing her use it quite soon. We are also learning stuff about the Red Dragon, about perhaps the Joy is something different, having been born in a dream. Who knows what that's about? And something that the Red Dragon knows. She knows something about Joy, and she's not telling. So stuff will happen. We are building this one brick at a time. We are building the wall of her life, and later on we'll build, the stuff that comes later. I hope you enjoyed this one. Come back again tomorrow for the next Squashbuckler Diary entry, and now the credits. The Squashbuckler Diaries are written and read by me, Guy Hasson. If you want to know more about the Squashbuckler Diaries, check out the website, GuyHasson.com, which is GUYHASSON.com. The theme music is called Brash Gentleman and is by Thomas Herudek. I will talk to you again tomorrow in the dream. Ahoo! Okay, sorry about that. At 2.5 years old, little Dragon Little I can't say little dragon, little. And she's 2.5 years old. You don't need that. And at 2.5 years old, Dragon Little learned